Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul, baby, feeling oh so silky smooth. Just let it shine through. Just let your soul glow. Soul glow.
That means that we punched our ticket to go try to win the Super Bowl, and that's it. We got one game at a time, starting at 1 o'clock on Sunday. Love y'all, boys. Love you. Love you. I'll go to war with every single one of you, every game, all right? Love you, 1-7. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Win.
Yeah. Please tell me that I can't, that I won't, that I fail, that I'll never make it out, yeah. Please tell me all the bad, never good, fill my head full of every single doubt, yeah. Please say any negative thoughts, I pop off when I hear people say I cannot. I get off to the thought of proving everyone wrong, I won't stop to the top, so you better back off and get lost. I'ma stay loud, stay proud, never running out, never heading south. I'll be spreading out, call it word of mouth, can't put me down, I'll be getting loud. You can have your doubts, not what I'm about, have your fucking clout. It be raining now, I keep making sound, go another round, bitch I'm legend bound, can't stop me now. You don't wanna fuck with me, a slow burn like a disease. Just tell me that I can and I'll show you things that you couldn't believe. Just tell me that I can. 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 It's showtime.
Welcome to Monday Night. Oh, Monday Night Uncensored. I almost said Monday Night Uncensored. Welcome to Mafia Sports Report. I am Tommy. What up, Bills Mafia? Welcome to the Down and Drought series that I'm doing every Sunday at 1 o'clock. Boy, I cannot talk today. Woo! All right, let's start this thing over. Hey, Bills Mafia. Welcome to the Mafia Sports Report. I am Tommy, and this is the Down and Drought series that I'll be doing every Sunday at 1 o'clock. How are you? Boy, oh boy. Guys, man, been a long week, but I made it. You made it. So let's get to some of the comments real quick. Weston, what up? Bean Island, baby, said Aramis. No, Aramis will never believe in Bean Island, right? But by the way, real quick, speaking of Bean Island, as you guys know, I am the president of Believe in Bean Island, and I will be coming out with some merch soon. And yeah, that's going to be my first project. It's going to be a hoodie, a shirt or hoodie, Believe in Bean Island, and I'm gonna make it a pretty cool looking one. And I'll have it in my YouTube store shortly. So look for that. I don't know how many people will buy a Believe in Bean Island shirt or hoodie, but I think there's a lot of you guys out there that are coming ashore and joining the island. So I appreciate you guys rocking with me. Let's see here. Ronnie, awesome. What up, Ronnie? Truck reviewer in the house. Bob in the house. Hey, Tom, in 2002, Drew at quarterback. It was a weird year. Good to see you today, pal. What up, Bob? Yeah, it was, man. And we're going to get into that, obviously. We're going to get into that 2002 season. One of the best Buffalo Bills offenses we've had, right, in team history. They're up there when it comes to production, right? Total production on offense. However, on the other side of the ball, the defense was a total disaster. And by the way, under Gregg Williams, who's a defensive-minded head coach. Reminds you of anybody here? Sean McDermott? Now, it wasn't as bad, right, as Sean, like it was. Let me think of that. Sean McDermott's defense wasn't as bad as the Gregg Williams defense was when he was here, but I don't know if it was much better either, especially against the run. But yeah, we're gonna dive in this. Bagula, Bob coming in. Bagula sucks as an owner. He wants you guys to know that.
Oh, excuse me.
Oh, I roll up often, man. How you doing, brother? So yeah, let's dive into this, man. 2002 Buffalo Bills. Let me go ahead and put it on the screen for y'all. All right, here we go. Look at that. Look at that. All right, let's rock and roll, man. 2002 Buffalo Bills.
Episode 3, 2002. The
Let me,
dogmas of the quiet past are
quiet this
inadequate to
background
the
music
stormy
here.
present. As our case is new, so we must think anew and act anew.
Boy, that lady has a very annoying voice. Who the hell was that?
Now, on Inside the Buffalo.
Wait.
Oh,
Wait,
boy.
Wait. Can't use that title.
I feel bad for whoever's married to
this.
that lady. That's terrible.
All right.
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to another episode of Down Drought, your weekly walk
It is
down
as
memory lane
fast,
with
Master.
Buffalo
Good for
Bills
you. Some
and
people don't know
17
that,
year
but yeah, good eye,
I've
brother.
got Rossi alongside me this week, News 8 Sports Director Thad Brown, and former News 8.
Can you guys hear me good with the
thank you for joining, and thank you
with the
for tuning in, whether it be on
audio?
Facebook,
You want me to turn it down
Twitter,
some?
SoundCloud.
I just want you to be able to
all
hear
the
it
social
on
media
both.
devices you can possibly imagine. We cannot thank you enough for tuning in. And fellas, as
Let
we
me know if
turn
you can hear me
2002,
still.
March 1st.
And you can hear
Big day in the Bills offseason in
the roundtable
2002.
as
They
well.
Release Rob Johnson. The immediate thoughts
Thank God.
coming right after Johnson is released.
Not a shock. You know, he had proven that he was not the answer. I mean, no one really liked him. He was the other guy with the Doug Flutie thing. So there was a large percentage of Flutie fanatics, emphasis on fanatics, that were, you know,
At least
exceptionally
in
happy
that
to see
time.
Rob Johnson go. But from a football point of view, he was always the great hope. You know, he had the physical tools.
Okay,
but
cool.
could he put it together? He never did. He got hurt.
This is great. I don't know if you guys seen this.
Rob, we respect you too, but you don't look like a football. You look like a male model for Versace or something. I mean, in
All right,
the
cool.
best possible way.
Thanks, Tom.
Yeah, you look good.
That does wonders, you know, for the locker room.
Exactly.
Well, wait a second, guys. A lot of starting quarterbacks in the NFL look a little bit like this. We do have a picture of Rob.
Look at this cocky
Yeah,
Rob Johnson.
Look at you there.
He's enjoying all the money the Buffalo Bills shoveled to him.
Drew Bledsoe is the talk. He's going to be the first quarterback taken.
Right.
Where do you see yourself fitting in?
That's a good question. I don't know right now.
Do you plan to be back in Buffalo?
No.
Not at all.
Actually, there was just a report. I just got off the phone with my agent, and John Clayton reported that I wasn't going to go back. So.
How about that, guys? Just found out.
I mean, I just found out
You got
about 5
cut.
months ago, so.
Seriously.
How's that make you feel?
I'm kind of happy.
Yeah.
Really?
It hasn't been an easy situation there.
Yeah.
Every offseason there's been something, whether it's me or Doug or, you know, new coaches. So, you know, it'll be a fresh start.
What are you doing in your offseason? What's your offseason?
I just got back from Hawaii.
Ooh.
What'd you do over there, man?
I surfed every day.
Of course,
No one
surfing
really
every
was happy
day.
to see him go. The question was, who stepped
Well, this fucking guy, Rob Johnson, this terrible quarterback. This is what he's doing. He's surfing. he's so terrible. You would think he's trying to work on his craft. I mean, I get it. You want to have a little break in the off season, but when you're that bad, guys, when you're that fucking bad, how about try to improve your game in the off season a little bit? How about do some workouts or do something to improve your overall play, right? Like this guy, bro, like, listen, man, by the way, he left us. I don't even know if he started again. He may have played a couple more games, but he didn't do shit after he left us. So it's not like Rob Johnson left and, you know, went on to be even a decent quarterback. Like, matter of fact, let's pull up Rob Johnson's stats, right? Like, why not? I know I pulled the stat up before, and I was like, holy shit, he was so bad. Like, I didn't realize he was that bad even when he had left us. He was so bad. All right, so when Rob Johnson left Buffalo, he went to Tampa. He played 2 games, 536 yards he threw that year in 2002, and 2 interceptions. And then in 2003, Looked like he played for Tampa again. He didn't play any games. He had, I guess maybe he came in one as maybe late in a game or something, 93 yards. Then in 2003, he went to Washington. He had 39 yards. In 2003, then he went to Oakland, so maybe he got released by Washington. He had 54 yards, and that's it. He had a career. He had 9 years in the NFL. Terrible. And I have no idea what the fuck the Buffalo Bills were thinking when they traded for him and why they gave up so much to get Rob Johnson. A first, was it a 2 firsts, a second and a fourth? Something crazy. Then they paid him the most in franchise history, right? And it's not like this guy wowed in Jacksonville. This guy started 1 game in Jacksonville in 97. The best he did was that year, 344 yards. So I guess they were amazed in that 1 game. Outside of that, he was a good preseason quarterback. And for some reason, the Bills thought this guy is the fucking man. This guy's the future. And he came to Buffalo, and he was terrible. First year, 910 yards, right? He got hurt, of course. 9-10, 3 interceptions. 99. It looked like he was hurt the whole fucking year. 298 yards, 2 touchdowns. 2000 was his best year for Buffalo. He had 2,125 yards, 12 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions. 2001, 1,465 with 5 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And that was all she wrote. Just a terrible quarterback. So it goes to show you, man. I mean, some people are just not cut out for the NFL, and he was one of them. Because once again, it's not like he left here and went on to do something great or even good or even a journeyman, right? You know, when you look around the NFL right now, there's quarterbacks that are in the league 9, 10, 11. I mean, at least they're doing something. They're putting up some production. He put up nothing when he left us. Zilch. Just wild that the Buffalo Bills got duked in that trade for Jacksonville. And let me pull that up, what we exactly gave him. I'm pretty sure it was like 2 firsts or a first and a second. Let's see, what did Buffalo trade for Rob Johnson? All right, we gave up a first round, ninth overall pick in 98. We gave him a 4th round pick in 98 as well. So crazy, bro. So they got a 1st round pick, number 9, and a 4th round pick. That's wild. And then we gave him a 5-year deal at the time for $25 million. It was the highest at the time. Team franchise record. $8.5 million signing bonus. Like at that time, it's a lot, guys, right? That's crazy, bro. That's insanity. So you guys think like Brandon Beane's done some bad signings, and he has. There, no doubt about it. There's been some poor decision making, especially in free agency. But let's be real here. I don't know if he ever jumped the gun like this. This was just an awful trade that cost you 2 draft picks and 1 that's a 9th overall. And on top of that, a franchise record in a contract, right? Just wild, man. Happy Palm Sunday. Hey, how you doing, Jacob Spears, man? How you doing, brother? So let's get back to it, man. But yeah, we moved on from Rob Johnson here in 2002.
In now without Rob Johnson in. And at that point, there was a small period where people looked at Alex Van Pelt as a possible answer. I mean, he wasn't anything great, but they had won 2 of their last 4 end of the year.
Good Lord. He was a decent backup, but
talk about at the point.
A starting quarterback, no thank you.
Themselves into Van Pelt as a regular starter.
I remember one of the things looking back on Rob Johnson, and it was a bad. When the times that he'd get hurt, when he really get lit, there were people that were cheering.
Yeah,
it was bad to hear.
I want to cheer our injury, but
like, Johnson hurt again.
Yeah, it was.
I'm not also saying that I wasn't like
typical Rob.
grinning on the
First quarterback
inside.
pick in that year in the 2002 NFL Draft is Derek Carr to the expansion Houston Texans. Joey Harrington goes to.
You meant David Carr. That's why he's flashing it.
Fourth overall pick, and they take Mike Williams, tackle out of Texas. Obviously,
Mike Williams.
Not kind to Mike Williams in his NFL career, but what was the immediate reaction to that draft pick?
Y'all remember Mike Williams?
It was a no-brainer.
Yeah,
and that's the thing.
The guy
we see a lot with this team.
He was just like
it was a house.
He was a specimen. He was like he should have been
6'6",
everything you wanted.
Yeah.
The guy was.
He was like a
made to play
fucking
football.
apartment building.
Left tackle.
Yeah,
like this was a no-brainer. No question. No one questioned the
Not
pick.
at all.
No one thought about going anywhere else. This was, I think the Bills were
Guy's a
planning
damn
weeks in advance.
Yeah.
And then he
Damn
shows
apartment
up
building.
in Ocean Park, and
Look
he's
at
a
that
great
guy.
guy to talk to, gregarious personality, fun to hang out with. There was no negatives with Mike Williams until he started playing football.
Right.
If I'm gonna be the best, I'm just gonna have to beat you, and that's my goal. And I'm sorry that you're right here, but that's just it. I apologize. We get off the field, like what happened to him? But while we're on the field, that's a job, and that's my passion for the game. And you just don't get in front of me, and you'll be all right.
Bryant McKinney goes a few picks later. There had been no discussion.
Okay, so you see what I'm talking about, guys, when it comes to draft picks and us as fans going, oh, we should have, we should have drafted this guy. We should have drafted that guy. Why did we draft this guy? Or you just never know. I mean, Mike Williams was the man in college. He was absolutely the man in college. Like that was, like they said, a no-brainer. That nobody complained about that pick. Nobody thought Mike Williams would turn out to be a bust. But it happens all the time, guys. It happens all the time. That's why it's so funny when people are so going into these drafts. And sometimes I'm guilty of it too, where we're just so sold on a player coming out in the draft, or the opposite. Oh, he's going to be terrible. He's going to be a bust. Sometimes, guys, it just doesn't work out. Sometimes these guys when they go to the next level for some reason, whether that be injuries or they're just not meant to be in the NFL for whatever reason. It just didn't work out that way, or lack of effort or lack of coaching. I mean, whatever it is, they wind up being a bust, right? And unfortunately for us, he was one of them. But I didn't hate the pick at the time. Like, we needed a lineman, and he was the best, right? And it did not work out.
About, not at all. Even though he's the Super Bowl tackle, and
as it turned out, was the right choice. But no, at the time, Mike Williams was not only the guy as a tackle, but the guy for Buffalo. It was the year before. One of the reasons Rob Johnson got hurt is the O-line was not very good.
Exactly. Yeah. And Rob Johnson obviously misses the second half of the season. Was averaging at the time he got hurt in Week 9 was averaging 4 sacks a game.
Yeah.
4 sacks a game.
So the Williams draft is on April 20th. The very next day, the second day of the 2002 NFL draft, April 21st, the Bills make a trade.
Yeah, and I tell this story all the time. This is probably the first really monster out of nowhere.
I remember
story
this,
that I covered
man.
with the Bills. And now you might be able to verify some of these points, but I've been telling this story from my point of view. But so the way we covered the draft then is the draft was 2 days. It was Saturday, Sunday. So John Kutchko, the sports director, was off. Didn't worry. Dave would anchor the show on Saturday, and I would go up to Buffalo and hang out and interview whoever coaches, GMs, whoever came out and talked about draft picks. Well, that weekend, and probably most weekends, I was going to anchor and Dave was going to be off. So I was the only sports person scheduled that day. And it was Sunday morning, and I was driving home from somewhere, and I hear on the radio the trade goes down. Now, there was no call Dave and ask him what to do, no discussion. I called Dave and said, Dave, I'm going to Buffalo. You're anchor. Now, mind you, I had maybe 18 months of experience. I was the low man on the totem pole. And it wasn't a factor of me, talking trash or trying to, to puff my chest out. It was just how John had kind of conditioned the department. Something like that happened.
You respond to it.
We're going to go. And I didn't even talk to you. I left you a message. From your end, what do you remember about that day?
I just remember scrambling because, back then you're like, okay, you can't just pull things up like you can now on the internet and like, look what's going on. It was just, okay, let's get everything together. Let's get in there. And
it was a big deal. I remember. It was
And
Real
it's
big
Drew
deal.
Bledsoe coming off a Super Bowl win with the Patriots. He obviously didn't play in that Super Bowl win over the Rams, but the thought that it's Bledsoe, a guy that they knew from competing against him in the division for so many years. I mean, we've seen the video of fans calling in the season tickets just flying off the shelves from the Ralph. I mean, that must have been the home run to end all home runs, bringing in Bledsoe.
Why? Because we didn't have a reliable quarterback since Jim Kelly retired after the 96 season, right? We were shuffling with Rob Johnson and Doug Flutie, no offense. And I like Doug Flutie, but let's be real. He was just a spark at the time, but he wasn't a guy that probably was going to lead us to anything, right? And we were still missing that quarterback, right? And to get a Drew Bledsoe was huge, right? Now, I didn't know that he was going to have this, short run as far as being in his prime goes. And, unfortunate for us, he only had the 1 year, which is this year in 2002. And then he just kind of, took a dive from there. But Buffalo was just, we just kept fishing for a quarterback, and we had no luck through those years, right? When Kelly wound up retiring. But dude, I remember too, like I used to collect these Buffalo, like action figures, right? And I remember, like, I think it was McFarlane, right? Used to make, the best football players at the time, if it was, these action figures. And I remember Buffalo never had one for years. And finally, when Drew Bledsoe came here, they made a Drew Bledsoe one. I wish I kept it. I'm sure I could find it on eBay, but yeah. And imagine it's been, and then since then, finally they came out with a Josh Allen one, right? Like that kind of shows you like how, like, through the years, how little like or superstar players that we had here that they were going to sell their action figures. And Drew Bledsoe was one of them in 2002. So it was a big deal when he got here, man. I was super excited that year.
Even though he was a vet at that point and had been replaced by Tom Brady.
But it was just, that was the answer. That was what you wanted. I mean, that was just a colossal move. It was huge to have him there.
Yeah,
like a circus up there. Yeah. When they brought him,
I remember the presser when he got off the plane.
Like political rallies when it was just, it was right.
I mean, look at this.
And the other thing you got to remember too,
I was like the damn president showing up.
A few years of quarterback purgatory, as Doug Whaley famously said. They had Todd Collins and Doug Flutie, who was fun, but he was 5'2" at best. Yeah. And then it was Rob Johnson, and then it was Alex
look at this, guys, right? Like
Drew Bledsoe was a legit quality quarterback. Yeah.
When is the last time you saw that? We sign a guy. It's such a big fucking deal, right? It's such a big deal. It's like the goddamn president coming to town, right? The news is there. He's getting off his plane, the red carpet treatment, right? We invite fans to the outside of the stadium, and we're like doing a celebration for Drew Bledsoe. It's crazy because you don't really see that. Like, you don't see that anymore, right? Imagine us like when we get like, if we would, whatever, like Bradley Chubb, we're outside of the right, the stadium with news reporters, and he's out there where all these fans like celebrating our free agent signings or our trades. Like, no, man, like you don't see that really in sports in general. You know what I mean? Like anymore. Like, but it was a big deal. It shows you right there how desperate we were to get a superstar player here, and especially a quarterback, right? Where, fans are rushing to the stadium, almost like a parade, right? For Drew Bledsoe, and he hasn't even played a single game yet. But that's how desperate we were to get a guy like that in the building, right? So we had to roll out the red carpet treatment. for a player like this. It was a big deal. And just a heads up, what we gave up for Drew Bledsoe, I believe we gave up a first round. Was it? We gave up a first round pick in 2003. And just a heads up, the Patriots selected Ty Warren with that pick. And then we also gave them a second round and a second round in 2003. So a first and 2 seconds. So, for me, hey, look, better than goddamn Rob Johnson deal. You know what I mean? Like, at least we got some value, even though it was 1 year. We got something out of Drew Bledsoe compared to Rob Johnson, who was just a headache and terrible, and nobody rallied behind him. But anyways, let's get back to it.
Proven, exactly. And even there was a little bit in the back of your mind, and we all talked about it, about why would the Patriots give him up in division? But no one really, it's Drew Bledsoe, they'll be fine.
Yeah. Every time the Bills would play the Patriots and Drew was behind the center, on offense, I held my breath for, I think it was 9 years. He's been to the Pro Bowl, and to get a player and an individual with this character and ability is a real big plus for the Bills.
I'm coming to Buffalo for one reason and one reason only, and that is to win football games.
That's right.
This is an organization that has a great tradition of excellence, and I hope I am part of the team that returns it to that tradition of excellence.
And the Bills traded away a first-round pick, which you figure it's going to be at the end of the
Unfortunately, no. It didn't get us to the promised land. But yeah, speaking of your comment, look, it's funny because I was talking to Dustin the other day when we went live on Friday Night Lights. It's funny because the drought years, some of my favorite players come from the drought years, and I've been watching this team since '89. So, of course, I have players I love in those '90s teams, late '80s, '90s teams. Bruce Smith, Jim Kelly, Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, list goes on, right? Bennett, Talley. But for some reason, it was weird with the drought years. My favorite player of all time is Eric Moulds, and obviously, he lived through the drought years. Now, Eric Moulds did go to a playoff game though in '99. Actually set an NFL record, still holds today for the most receiving yards in a playoff game. But point being, he was one of them. He was on those drought year teams. But dude, you're right. Henry, Travis Henry, CJ Spiller, Fred Jackson, Peerless Price, Lee Evans. There's so many players that were on these teams. Terrence McGee, Roscoe Parrish, that I could and I'm sure I'm missing so many. Nate Clements, dude, Takeo Spikes, London Fletcher, right? Just goes on and on. Willis McGahee, Marshawn Lynch. I could do so many guys that came through this building that were damn good to great, right? And we just never could put it together. So you're right. We did have players that came through here. But my point was with the action figure thing, they didn't, Buffalo was never that team where they just, for some reason, they made a lot. I think Willis McGahee had one, if I'm not mistaken. He had an action figure that was made by the same company that McFarlane, I think it's called McFarlane. Drew Bledsoe, maybe Marshawn Lynch, maybe. I have to look, but there wasn't many. You could find bobbleheads, but that's normal. They would give them out in stadiums. But as far as the action figure things, nah, bro. There wasn't many throughout those years of the drought years that I recall. Man, you're spot on. I appreciate you, man. And by the way, if you guys are new to this or you're on X watching this, do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe, and always hit the notification bell. You'll know when I'm going live. But the reason I'm doing this, one, because it's the off season, and why the fuck not, right? Why not? Two, like I told you guys on the very first episode I did a couple weeks ago, was this is good for the fans that didn't, lived through this, that didn't really go through the drought years. And I always find it important for, if you're a diehard Bills fan, right, or any sports fan, should know your team history, even the bad, right? Even the bad. And it's for me, I find it's interesting to understand the history and what teams are, gone through and where you're at today and why you're at, why you are where you're at today, right? The craziness that went along on this journey that we went through to get to this point that we're at today. And then also too, for the people that did live through this, there's some things that you may not know that you're going to find out when we're watching this together. And I've seen this series, by the way, years ago. So it's been a while since I watched this, and that's why I'm kind of do this watch along with you guys. And then we're going to pause it. We're going to talk about stuff. So there's some things that I was like, damn, I didn't know that, right? And some things you're going to see here is just going to be like, oh shit, I remember that, but I kind of forgot about it. Like, so that's why I'm doing this. It's fun. It's gonna, like I said, it's a 17-part series. It's not for everybody. Some people are like, I don't want to relive the drought years. But for me, look, man, it's the past. It's part of the team. It's interesting for me. Like I said earlier, a lot of my favorite players came from the drought years. So why not, right? Why the fuck not? All right, let's continue on.
2003 first round. So first round picks, first round schmicks.
Exactly.
Who cares? So Bledsoe's here. Mike Williams is here. Things are good for year 2 of the Gregg Williams era. June 3rd, which is kind of a strange time for news like this, but the Bills cut John Fina. And he is the remaining player from the Super Bowl era still on the Bills. Phil Hansen retired.
Has a podcast, by the way.
At the end of the 2001 season.
With Joe Miller.
We talked about this already. Just kind of the finality of that era is over. John Fina is the last one to go. Your interactions with him, what was he like to cover?
You go first, Dave.
I think a lot of people that dealt with that team at that time, John Fina was not one of our favorite people to talk to.
John got some explaining to do.
I mean, he was just
got some explaining to do.
Period.
John Fina, if you did an interview with the player next to him, like John Fina's locker was here, I don't know, it might have been Reuben Brown, another offensive lineman. If you wanted to talk to someone, you couldn't stand in front of John Fina's locker, even though the lockers, again, are probably closer than we are. He would physically move you out of the way, or he would accost you. He would do no respect, no love. He was a jerk. Now, people ask me, I'll go into I'll do career days at schools. People talk
it's funny though, and now he does podcasts.
I would always, John Fina was the worst.
I would love to
without hesitation,
talk to him about this.
Now, he might not be a bad guy. As it turns out, maybe 7-8 years later, I'm doing a career day in Rochester, New York at a school called St. John's. I had a cousin that went there. Her kids were there. So I get that question about who I didn't like. I say, John Fina. Put my hand out. For sure.
Yeah.
Well, after I get done, a kid in the class comes up to me and goes, John Fina is my cousin? I'm like, what? He has family in Rochester, New York.
No kidding.
And so the kid says, yeah, John Fina is my cousin. And he didn't see him all the time, but he sees him. And I said to him, really?
If he's a kid and Fina's his cousin, I mean, Fina would be.
I'm going to make sure to let my cousin know that you're talking shit.
Brother. Yeah, it would have been uncle, might have been whatever. But it was close enough that they knew each other.
Yeah.
And so you had that moment like, well, but then I thought about it, I said, you know what? You tell him I said that. And he probably wouldn't have cared because that was, and that
there
was
also,
remember the Broncos offensive line wouldn't talk to media famously. He was of that ilk of just, he had no respect, no time for them. He might have respect, but treated us like vermin that were in his way in the locker room.
I wonder when did that kind of shift with the O-line? Because we look at the Bills locker room now and I don't, Richie Incognito obviously has all the baggage that's come along with his history, but
man, it's fun. Like I've talked to John Fina a few times on online, just one-on-one, real quick. I was trying to get him on the podcast, but we just never could connect with time, the time slot. But I would love to ask him about this because obviously he's in the podcast game now, right? Where he's having guests on, he's talking to people, and I'm sure he also does more than that. I'm sure he because he's basically media now, right? In a sense. So I wonder if what's his thoughts on this, right? Like the interaction between media and player. if he's changed his thinking, or he still believes in maybe, media shouldn't be in the locker room, or whatever his thoughts are. I'm very curious. And I'm very curious if he feels like he mistreated anyone, right? Because it seems like from these guys, now, of course, these are just a couple guys, but I wonder if he just feels like it was just them and maybe other people didn't feel that way. But I'm definitely going to ask him about that. I'm gonna clip this part and I'm gonna talk to him. And dude, I'm very interested to see what he has to say. I would love to have him on the show one day, and hopefully I will. Hopefully we can connect. But anyways, let's get back to it.
You can talk to him.
Right.
He will talk at his locker.
and
Eric Wood and the other guys too.
There were certain guys in the locker that you were like. Ted Washington was not one that you wanted to really go to unless you had
Big Ted.
You had to. He was not. He didn't like the media. He wasn't media friendly. But then, like you just said, Reuben Brown. Reuben Brown was just. I mean, he was like one of the go-to guys. Yeah. So it wasn't.
That's true.
It was more of an individual.
There's probably certain people that.
Another guy that was tough. I remember one time.
I get that.
Peerless Price was talking to a writer, and in open locker room situations, if the guy's talking, you can kind of walk up and join in. And so he's talking to a writer, and I went to walk him and join in. He stopped what he was saying, looked at me, and said, "This is not for you. I'm not talking to you," and turned around. And that was Peerless Price was of the prima donna wide receiver ilk. Now he had his good moments too, but I think Fina, Washington, Price were probably the three historically stay away when it comes to them.
Wow. I didn't know that about Peerless Price either. And I've talked to him briefly a few times online as well. Seems like a really nice guy, but I get it. In a way, I understand these guys just got done playing a game, very physical game, especially if after a loss, right? Or let's say you didn't play your best game and you got all these reporters in your face, but it kind of comes with the territory, no? Right? For me, you kind of gotta understand, if you're an actor or a movie or a musician that's famous or whatever, a player, you got to expect media, you got to expect fans to come up to you. It kind of comes with the territory, right? And I know sometimes I'm sure it can be annoying, right? And especially, like I said, for a football player or a sports player, after a loss, you got these cameras in your face, microphones. They're asking questions that you may think is bad or dumb, whatever. But for me, I mean, that's just it is what it is. That's part of being an athlete. But I also, like I said, I understand the human side of it too, right? Where everybody has a different kind of personality and everybody handles things differently, right? We're all human. We all make mistakes. We all sometimes say something they wish they had back, or get caught up in a moment that they wish they could take back, right? But yeah, I mean, I get it, you know what I mean? But I didn't know that about Peerless Price, but once again, this is why we're watching this. This stuff that you guys are learning or finding out about. I find it interesting. I really do.
And then you turn around and find a tight end, because tight ends
were great. Fullbacks were great.
Tight ends are fullbacks.
But you want to talk about that to sum up? When did it switch? When the Bills weren't good enough to treat media like dirt anymore. That's when it switched. Yeah. Because when all these years they've been bad, they didn't have the cachet as a football team. They're still rich and millionaire football players, but to me, I think the team hasn't been good enough to really get on the media. There have been moments for sure, but
and some of them deserved.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not all the players' fault by a long shot. But John Fina was the last of the Super Bowl guys, and there was an era of deserved in many cases superiority there.
Well, Fina is gone, and we've talked about it. It's a new era for the Buffalo Bills. Gregg Williams is the head coach. Mike Williams is the number one overall, their number one overall pick number 4. Drew Bledsoe is the quarterback.
Mike Williams.
Let's bring in new jerseys. And
yeah,
what were your
baby.
immediate thoughts looking at that feast of blue just all over the place?
Dude, I like the blue.
Jersey
I
like
don't
that,
give a fuck what
think
anyone
looks
says.
Really nice. Those 90s And even
Right
in the
there.
80s, that looked at the Bills.
Dude, I rock my Moulds jersey all the time.
I liked it when
Yeah,
when
you're
it-
the only one.
No, I
Really?
really, I liked it. When I went to
Yeah.
I was like, that's not bad.
I didn't
Hold on
like
real quick. You know what,
blue
guys?
shoulder
Give me a
pad
minute.
white jersey. I didn't
Yeah,
like
right.
That
didn't
I did
one
not
either.
like.
didn't like that
The
one.
I know,
whole
though I
blue,
have one.
especially
I just
blue
it
on
didn't
blue,
ma-
blue
it
pad,
didn't
that was
go well.
actually
That right there.
popular-ish for a
Yeah.
while. I liked them.
No, that
Oh,
white with the
man.
blue looked like an old AFL team. or
Yeah,
something.
yeah, that was bad. And I'll tell you what, in 2001, end of the year, it was like second last week of the year. I don't think I ever told you this.
So let me show you guys real quick. I'm gonna step away and give you show you my. I got a whole bunch of jerseys, by the way, and I love. I'm telling you guys, those Reebok jerseys were made way better than the Nike jerseys they have out now. The stitching was better. The jersey was heavier. Like it just felt better made, more durable, right? Built to last almost, right? Hold on real quick. Let me show you guys. You're going to laugh at this one. Who's number 7? Huh? Whoa, hey, it's JP Lossman. Oh, man. Oh, lordy. But dude, yeah, guys, I got a lot. I got the Eric Moulds home and away. I got a Peerless Price. I got Marshawn Lynch, Willis McGahee. God, I'm sure I'm missing somebody else. Fred Jackson. And there's more that I want to get. Like they're tough to find now. Like I would love a Terrence McGee jersey, a Nate Clements, a Travis Henry, but they're hard to find in my size, right? Like I'm a 56 now. Obviously, I'm getting fatter and fatter. I used to be a 52, right? So, which is a 3XL, by the way. So they're not easy to come by now. But dude, I loved those jerseys, the blue ones. Just good quality, better quality back then. Absolutely, it was. Lee Evans, Lee Evans jersey too. I would a Tikio Spikes jersey. Like there's so, like I told you guys, like a lot of these drought years, these players from the drought years, dude. Like I have a lot of favorite players. Like a lot of players I loved on these team. Roscoe Parrish, right? Like, dude, if I can get them all these jerseys, absolutely I would. But I have a lot. I do own quite a bit of jerseys, and of course a lot of them don't fit anymore because I got so fat. But yeah, man, I had no problem with that blue. The white on blue, not so great. But it is what it is, and I do own one. I have an Eric Moulds white and blue along with the blue.
But we were doing a media
why not, right?
function in Buffalo, and the practice field where the Bills practice, it's right up to the parking lot, but it's covered with like a screen, plastic tarp, so you can't see in what's going on. But there's little cracks, you kind of walk by and see what's going on. There was a time we were done with everything we had to do. We were probably on our way back to get into the car or whatever, and I walked by the practice field, and there was one player running around in full uniform. I couldn't. It was like a silhouette. And I kind of looked over, and the uniform, I didn't recognize it. I, to this day, will swear that the Bills had a maybe not that uniform, but a version of it. They were looking at someone running around in a person to try it out. I don't know. I thought it was 80, so I thought it might have been Eric Moulds. But I swear that exactly. And then, again, I told him this the other day. If we had Twitter now, I would have gone up there and had my phone, and we see me, I'm going to put that out on Twitter now.
First told to have you taken out.
That would have been the last thing I would have done in Buffalo, yeah.
So we go into training camp in 2002. The Bills are at St. John Fisher, their third season there. The big news really from training camp doesn't even happen at St. John Fisher. It happens in Canton, Ohio. And Jim Kelly is inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Dave, you mentioned about
Kelly, baby,
how touching it was to see Hunter, Jim Kelly's son, when Kelly's number was retired last season, against the Seattle Seahawks, but to see that Hall of Fame ceremony, and this time they had moved the Hall of Fame ceremony from the actual Hall of Fame to the stadium across the street. Just what was that like, seeing tens of thousands of Bills fans there to celebrate their hero, Jim Kelly?
Well, I think, after the last couple of years, any celebration for a Bills fan was going to be embraced.
There you go, Jim.
Especially like we talked about last week about, Jim had gone from just being that football player to being so much more for the community and, the representative of his family. And that was the transition. So to see him get that honor was just, it was so well-deserved and just phenomenal.
Since the day I was selected, I prayed to God that my son would be here with me today. God has granted me that blessing.
Very cool.
It has been written throughout my career that toughness is my trademark. Well, the toughest person I've ever met in my life is my hero, my soldier, my son, Hunter. I love you, buddy. Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Buffalo. And God bless.
Hey, Andre. I hear it, man. I appreciate
Very
it.
cool.
I appreciate it. All right, Andre. Come on, Mikey. Just talk about what Kelly meant to you and how special this day was after seeing what you saw here today.
Well, I mean, it was like a recording. I've said it 50 times. I mean, what he meant to me I just knew that he was just a guy that exuberated confidence, and you knew something was going to get accomplished. Regardless of what the score was, what the situation was, you can count on that guy every time you're out there.
3, 2, 1. Jim Kelly brought down the house. A record crowd of over 18,000 were on hand, many of them to see number 12. It was a day where Canton, Ohio could have passed as Orchard Park. Jim Kelly fans were everywhere.
So we go into 2002, and before we dive into the season, maybe to just kind of, for those who maybe aren't aware of how we do this, so walk me through, even though I've done it too, walk the audience home, or walk the audience through covering a home game for the Buffalo Bills.
In terms of what we did during the game?
Yeah, what time are you there? What are you doing during pregame? What are you getting during the game, postgame?
Let's see here. Brantley coming in. If Allen was to have all these good players from back then, we would have a super elite team right now. Absolutely, dude. Are you kidding me? Without a fucking doubt. Without a doubt. Because those teams, right? Those Super Bowl teams were stacked, bro, from on both sides of the ball. Offensively, defensively, coaching staff was phenomenal. Like, we had everything to win a Super Bowl. Unfortunately, we didn't. I'll say this to the day I die. The Bills Giants Super Bowl was our opportunity. Like, that was the one where we should have gotten it done. We were the better team. They had a backup quarterback. I feel like we went into that game a little bit too cocky. I think the players were just kind of feeling themselves at the time and did a little bit too much partying, from what I heard. And it just, they got caught up, and before you know it, that game was close, and it came down to a kick, and unfortunately it was wide right. And the next 3 Super Bowls were against opponents that were stacked as well. And just unfortunately, they were better, right? They were just a little bit better than us, and we just weren't going to get it done. Washington had a hell of a team that year, and Dallas was just, man, they were just. If you think we were stacked, they were stacked. You know what I mean? Like, their offensive line was probably one of the best in the NFL history. So once again, man, that Giants game is the one. Man, that was the one that they should have gotten it done, man. But it is what it is. But you're right, man. If Allen had the talent surrounding him on both sides of the ball that Kelly did, I would think we would have a Super Bowl by now. I really truly believe that. Because I do think, we've been so close and a play away, in many of these games where, if we would have had few of these players really, I think we make those plays, right? And unfortunately, we just didn't. You know, we didn't have them, and also too, we didn't have the coaching staff. You know what I mean? I'm not shitting on McDermott, but he's no Marv Levy. You know, I don't care what his record says. He also has one of the best, if not the best, quarterbacks in the NFL right now. That's going to help your record, right, as a coach. So, yeah, I don't know. You know, I just feel like they need to surround this. They need to get better on both sides of the ball. Let's be real, right? And that's why McDermott's no longer here, because the defense wasn't doing their job. And when you have a defensive-minded head coach, you expect that side of the ball to be good, if not great. And it wasn't. And ultimately, that's why I say the defense is what let this team down way more than the offense ever did, ever. So the change needed to be done. Anyways, Thurman Thomas kept fumbling when we played Dallas. Yeah, it was. I'm telling you, it was just one of those things. I think they had probably a little bit too much partying, a little bit too much thinking they had that game in the bag. Going against a backup quarterback, and yeah, like I said, it can happen. It's happened to other teams, right? And they got caught sleeping. Before you know it, they're in a dogfight. So, but that's the history. That sucks.
From when you wake up almost in the morning to when you go to bed at night, it's all Bills football.
As a Rochester-based station, we're in to leave at 9 a.m. Dave was very good about bringing donuts.
Every Sunday.
Oh, it's great.
Man.
Oh, man.
That is a tradition that has not maintained throughout the years.
I had a lot of donuts then, and there's a price to be paid for all those donuts. But it was great then, and then the Bills had food for us too. But you arrive at the stadium, with traffic about 11 or so. You get settled, and then both of us are on the field pregame. Yeah. And at that point, one of the things we did at News 8, and it was a lot of fun, is our Bills coverage that night would begin with an NFL Films, set the NFL Films music, little montage of different shots of, like things NFL Films-ish, the dissolve.
I've seen them. They look incredible. Some of the old ones.
I mean, Dave was really good at, getting angles and different stuff. So we're on the field at noon, minimum, getting all those things done. And in addition, you're also trying to get, shots of guys and coaches that you may need. And we do it now more. I drill this into you now because you never know when that backup quarterback, TJ Yates, might be a Buffalo Bill, or when that offensive coordinator might be the next head coach. You want to get video of all those guys just in case.
Yeah, exactly. I just remember, like, when I'd first get there, myself and some of the other guys, we'd just go out and we call it taking a lap. We just walk around the stadium, just even in Orchard Park, just without our camera, just walking around just for the heck of it, kind of just then go back in. And we'd have our tripod set up with the press conferences for post game and have our batteries plugged in and all that stuff and get ready to go.
I will say that, like, being on the field during a game is one of the biggest highlights of this job. And you get that perspective.
Oh, dude, that'd be
as it's played
unbelievable, right, guys?
You see the speed, the strength, and the size of these guys up close and personal. But pregame, I think, and we've touched on this in previous episodes, of just how neat it is to see the interaction.
Look, Marcellus Wiley.
Even at that time, the guys kind of have their guard down a little bit. They're focused, but you can, they're not in helmets, they're not in pads. You can see them warming up. What was that like in the early 2000s, doing that over and over again at home and on the road?
Well, it was when I first started, you had a lot more flexibility as far as going on the field for intros and things like that. So you could get stuff of them coming out the tunnel that you can't get now.
You could be on the 50-yard line as guys are being introduced.
Yeah, I'd be out when they come running down out of that inflatable helmet, and they'd be jumping on each other. I'd be out at midfield getting that, and that was just the kind of thing that was
Antoine Winfield right there,
burned into my head.
Another one of my favorite players. Yeah.
The other difference then to now. Then Dave and I would both shoot the game.
Reuben Brown getting them
on the road sideline, and we'd want to be in the right spot for whatever happened, and we'd have like hand signals about, okay, I'm going to go down, you stay there, and we would back and forth. We'd be communicating the whole game about, do you want to be behind the offense? Do you want to be downfield of the offense? If there's a game-winning field goal, you get the isolation shot of the kicker to react. So we had all kinds of hand signals.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah,
and one would stay if one would stay on the quarterback, the other would follow the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
So if the quarterback was getting hit or something like that, you'd have the angles, whatever you needed.
And the Bills or the NFL, and we'll get into this probably in later episodes of this, but in 2005-06, the NFL tried to lessen the congestion in the sideline and or take over control of video for themselves.
Of course.
Reducing the number of people on the sideline. So we can't do that anymore. But back in 01, 02, 03, 04,
NFL,
we shot a lot.
It's all
of
about
games.
money, boy.
Yep.
They
And
want those shots.
It was fun because as someone who's on the field, you're trying to get the good shot. It's the game within the game for us. And to have a teammate out there that we're coordinating with made it all the more fun and interesting and exciting.
And that was really, you look at when we talk about these games, I sit there and I think, well, yeah, that game was bad, but you know what? The Bills got crushed. Where I got a great shot of that touchdown.
Yes.
So it was like, okay, they're getting killed, but I got some good video from this one.
Yeah. I do want to say though, the two of you, and I'm not trying to inflate your tires, are two of the best football shooters I've ever seen. And the video that you guys are able to get, and I know this from my own experience and watching others try to shoot NFL games from the field, the skill it requires to cover a game that played that fast right in front of you, and to make the right decisions and to not, be too fast or too slow, out of focus, in focus. Were there any exercises or anything you guys did pregame at that time to kind of maybe train your eye, or to, you watching the players warm up? Are you doing warm ups too?
That was training camp was kind of that. When training camp started, you kind of got used to it. But really, I should not be talking at all. Everything I learned from him. I'm not a joke. I had an idea when I got the news 8 about.
I went to the Dolphins-Bills game in Miami in 2002. Moulds burnt Sam Madison, right? I believe his name was, all day long. He caught a long touchdown pass from Bledsoe in that game. Dude, we're going to get into that, like the stats and stuff of the 2002 Buffalo Bills. But Moulds, my dude, my favorite player of all time. Dude, he had some of his best games and moments came against the Miami Dolphins, and I fucking loved it because I hated the fucking Dolphins. Like I still hate the Dolphins because growing up a Bills fan in the late 80s, I started in 89, and then obviously going through the 90s, that rivalry was huge. Like we hated them, they hated us. Like that was true rivalry. Like that that's like it was like Michigan, Ohio State. You know what I mean? Like it was real. And I lived in South Florida at the time, and there was Bills fans there, but not, obviously you're surrounded by Dolphins fans. So I would go to the games as a kid with my mom, and of course they were Dolphin fans, and I didn't give a fuck. I'd wear my Buffalo Bills jersey. I'd be dragging a stuffed dolphin animal on the floor, pissing people off. I didn't give a shit. But dude, those games are great. And I never went to a game, believe it or not. Every Bills game I've ever been to, they've won. Every one. I haven't been to many. I think I've been to, how many in Florida? I think I went to like 4 in Florida, maybe more. It might have been maybe 6, 5 or 6 for sure. And then I went to 1 in Buffalo in 2018, Josh's rookie year, against the Lions. It was late in the season, and we won that game. Close game, but we won. But yeah, man, fucking hated the Dolphins. Eric was a stud. Yeah, Eric was legit. Oh, you're in Ohio? Okay. So you need to see. Yeah, but I live in Detroit now, and it's not that it's a far ride, but I tell people all the time, man, I got my dog here, and she just hates car rides, and I don't have anyone to take care of her. So my life is at home. So everything I watch is here. But I'll say this about going to games, because obviously, I've been to more than just, Buffalo Bills. I've been to, I'm a Hurricanes fan. I've been to the Orange Bowl when they used to play in the Orange Bowl. I've been to basketball games. I've been to baseball games. Like, I'll be honest with you guys. I prefer watching the games at home. I get a better angle. I get to see the game better, more comfortable. But on the flip side, when you go to a game, you're getting that interaction with other fans. You're getting the tailgating, that experience of being there live with fans is really where it's at, right? But watching the game, like most of the time, you're not going to get a good, view. I'll say this. I did get floor tickets when my old boss at the bar I used to do security at. They gave him floor tickets, and dude, that was phenomenal. Like that, yeah, if I could get floor tickets, right, sure. For a basketball game, you see everything, and it's unbelievable. But you got to have money for that. So, and I didn't pay. So, outside of that, man, I even went to. You know what? No, I've been to a couple Buffalo. I forgot. I went to the Buffalo game here in Detroit when a few years ago. Remember that when they played the Browns in Lions Stadium and we beat the Browns? I went to that game and I actually got damn good seats, pretty fucking good seats. And you still miss a lot of things that you don't, that you could see better, obviously, on TV. So I still had a great time, but I don't know. For me, I prefer to be at home watching the game. Why is Moulds not on the wall? I have no idea. And by the way, speaking of the Wall of Fame, I don't know if you guys heard about this or what your thoughts are about this, but they are talking about not having O.J. Simpson on the Wall of Fame when the new stadium opens up. For me, he deserves to be on the Wall of Fame. And I sent a tweet out, and the tweet got a lot of attention because it's for me, it's the truth, right? When we're talking about the situation, about the Wall of Fame and all that stuff. So what I said was, where is it? What I said? I said, so you guys can understand exactly what I said. Let me get to it here. Man, where is that tweet? Because it was perfect, man. I thought about it before, I even I put it out, but let me see here. Golly, I feel terrible now. Where the hell is it? Hold on, guys. Give me a minute. Boy. Let's see here. Okay. Man, I don't know. Now I don't even know where it's at, man. Hold on, guys. I feel bad. All right, let's see here. Okay, here we go. So I said, serious question. Is the Wall of Fame about football greatness or personal legacy? Because if it's football only, O.J. Simpson is 100% deserving. If it's both, that's where it gets complicated. My opinion, he belongs on the Buffalo Bills Wall of Fame. Okay? And I'm sticking with that 100%. Because what are we talking about here, right? Are we talking about what he did on the field? Are we talking about personal legacy, right? That's why the NFL Hall of Fame, O.J. Simpson, is still there. And there's no talks about removing him. And there shouldn't be. You know how many Hall of Fame players there are? I'm sure if you dig in the personal history of every single one, you're going to find a lot of bad dudes on there that did some pretty awful things, I'm sure. And I know his was the extreme, obviously, what he did. But what are you celebrating here on the Wall of Fame, right? With these players that you have on your current Wall of Fame and the NFL Hall of Fame, what are you celebrating? You're celebrating what he did on the field, his accomplishments on the field. So if that's what the Bills are doing with the Wall of Fame, then O.J. Simpson absolutely deserves to be on the Wall of Fame. If they aren't, if this is on the field and personal legacy, okay, then I guess there could be talks, right? But if if you're separating the two, you got to have O.J. Simpson on that Wall of Fame, absolutely, because of what he did while he was here in Buffalo. And yeah, he's a Hall of Fame player, and he was ahead of his time. And first player to rush for 2,000 yards, right? Like the dude was dynamic in his stretch here in Buffalo. Now on Eric Moulds, dude, I am so angry with the Buffalo Bills and the disrespect that Eric Moulds has gotten by not being on the Wall of Fame. He should have been on the Wall of Fame years ago. He spent 10 seasons in Buffalo, right? In the drought years, pretty much every single year he was here in Buffalo, except for 99, 98, 90. I think he went twice to the playoffs in Buffalo. But outside of that, he stuck with the team, right? You go to any team now with superstar players like Eric Moulds was, the best player on the team. These guys aren't sticking around. They want trade. They're demanding trades. When they're a free agent, they want the fuck out for the most part, unless you're going to way overpay like a Myles Garrett. And that wasn't the case. Eric Moulds stuck with this team. He's stuck with the shitty quarterbacks. I think there was 7 or 8 different starting quarterbacks through his time here. 5 head coaches, 5 OCs. Like, it was craziness. And still put up 10,000 yards, pretty much, right? Almost 10,000 yards. And you're going to disrespect him by not putting him on the Wall of Fame? Like, dude, like, what else could he have done here? And I get it. People are going to be like, oh, Fred Jackson and Kyle Williams. And maybe you're right about those guys. I get it. But if you're going to look at the body of work that Eric Moulds put in, right? He's ahead of those guys. Absolutely he is. And I don't get what the holdup is. It's not right. And I hope they correct that when they open the new stadium, because if I'm Eric Moulds and you're asking me to come out and run out with the team, you know how they have the legacy guys come out or whatever, the former players, like, I don't know if I'm going to continue to do that. Like, you're going to disrespect me by not honoring what I did here, my time here. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like I hope they correct that. I hope they fix that because they should. They absolutely should. But anyways, let's get to some of your comments. I like watching at home, watching football as well, but baseball, I'd rather be there. Okay, you know what? Baseball, I've been to a few baseball games too. I have. It depends. You know what? It depends on the stadium. It depends, obviously, where you're sitting. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to a couple of Tigers games. I'm a Tigers fan. Not a bad stadium. Like, you even if you have cheapy kind of seats, you still can see the field pretty well. But in their reasonable price too. It's not crazy amount to get into a baseball game. But I'd still rather be home. The only Bills game in Seattle that I missed was the last one. Oh, wow. Okay. All right. OJ needs to stay on the wall. Yep. Bob. Yep. I agree. Ray Lewis is on the Wall of Fame. Ray Lewis is on Baltimore Wall of Fame. I mean, he should be. He better be. Walter Payton. Complicated. Exactly. Sandra, how you doing? What up, Tommy? To the top 3 of 3. And Mafia, just wanted to let you know in with you today. Can't comment. Watch it from my TV. Okay, no problem. We're about halfway through this episode of this 2002 Buffalo Bills team. So let's continue on.
How to do it, but Dave was the expert, and I attached to the hip. What'd you think of this? Yeah. What'd you do here? He was the one that really guided me and mentored me into doing this.
And there was a guy at Channel 13 who, Carl Schuba, he was the guy who everybody looked at as he was the top dog. And it was kind of like, I kind of would go to him for some stuff on, what do you do in a situation like this, that kind of thing. But I think a lot of it comes from playing sports it's instinct. It's like you kind of knowing the game is huge. You know that. Yeah. Knowing what to expect and where to, okay, what are they going to do here? And then you start learning the tendencies and that kind of thing. Another big thing was, you always talk about the quarterback arm angle. If you see the elbow drop back, he's going deep. If it's up like that, he's so you try to pick up on stuff like that.
And getting used to quarterbacks play action fakes too. Some are better. Mark Sanchez killed me all the time. Of all the people in the world, he was the guy that stands out. Bills quarterbacks, by and large, I thought have had terrible play action fakes.
Flutie was a bear just because he was so short.
Yeah.
You just could not. You couldn't find the worst I ever got faked out was at a home game. One of the worst home game against the Colts. Peyton Manning faked the handoff and kept it on a bootleg and ran around the other.
33-yard touchdown, the longest run of his career. I didn't want to bring that
You're
up.
right.
That happened last season.
You're
I didn't
right.
want to.
I'm still looking for him. I'm like, did he really just run that in?
Peyton Manning, the slowest quarterback maybe ever.
Yeah.
And part of that is
Because you weren't. He wasn't expecting Peyton.
Burn Dave because
Yeah.
there's no way
No
he's
way
ever
Peyton's
looking for
running
Peyton
this.
Manning
Yeah.
running the ball.
Oh man. Well, I this may have been a little too inside videography. Believe me, I really enjoyed it. So let's turn to the 2002 season before we go completely off the rails. The first game ever for Drew Bledsoe in a Bills uniform.
There's speaking of the Wall of Fame, there
Eric
you go.
Moulds game-tying touchdown with 26 seconds left, but the great feelings don't last for long, do they?
No. Against the Jets, and this was what's known as the Chad Morton game.
Fucking
He returned
Jets.
2 kickoffs for a touchdown. The second one is in overtime, and he ran by me. And one of the things that we were coached to do, and I didn't do it as well, is for a kickoff return, you got to be down by the end zone because that's really the only highlight that matters on that is going to happen there.
Yeah.
So I was down at like the 10, and he catches the ball, and he had already run one back, and you're thinking there's no way it happens again. And then he breaks a couple tackles, and the whole way it's like you're kidding me, you're kidding me.
Where's the flag? Where's the flag?
Yeah. And then he scores, and then okay, Drew Bledsoe's 0-1. Welcome to Buffalo.
And that was talking about deflating.
Yeah.
Talking about Deflategate, right?
Yeah, I know. But the way he tied the game up, the narrative was there for the chosen son has come in.
Hey, no, he definitely had one of the prettiest releases of the football. You're absolutely right, and Drew Bledsoe. It was this is why this year when we got Drew, and like I said, I'm going to go through over the stats and all that stuff when we're finishing up with this, but it goes to show you from when the time Kelly left and then we went through this quarterback carousel a little bit here. What a true quarterback looks like a top true quarterback, franchise type quarterback looks like, and what he could do on the football field. And man, bro, his deep ball was pretty. He wasn't mobile, but he knew how to move and maneuver in the pocket. He went through his reads just perfectly. He sometimes he held the ball a little bit too long because it's going through his reads, but he knew how to kind of maneuver in the pocket. A lot like Dan. Dan Marino was a lot like that, right? Dan Marino obviously was not mobile, but he knew how to just maneuver enough to go through his reads and make that right decision. And they had the arm to fit it in any space. So Drew Bledsoe's, you see what he did. You know what I mean? You see, and we'll go over the stats, but you see, Peerless Price numbers and Moulds and Josh Reed and all, everybody benefited. When you have a quarterback like this, you're going to benefit. You're going to definitely benefit from having it. So, I just, the sad thing about the Drew Bledsoe situation is we caught him at the tail end of his prime. Right. And I don't know if they knew that. Obviously they didn't know that. Right? They wouldn't have given up so much. But even as a fan, I wasn't expecting such a decline after the first season. Right. Because this season, numbers wise, what he did was everything we wanted in a quarterback. And it just kind of took a nosedive the following season. Right. It is what it is. We had one shot. we had one shot at getting it done with Drew Bledsoe, pretty much. And unfortunately for us, we had a shitty ass head coach with a shitty ass defense. And that's why we finished 8-8 this year. When Bledsoe patted the ball more than 3 times in the pocket, he was in trouble and going to get sacked. You know what's funny too? His sacks, guys, if you ever watch Drew Bledsoe, he was a big quarterback. They could not, these guys would hit him and he would just kind of he would never really kind of fall. They just kind of grab and move him around, and the rest would blow the whistle. Like, he was tough to take down. He's a big quarterback. All right, let's get back to this.
Trade has worked out, and then the Jets just beat him with a kickoff return again.
Week 2, the Bills go on the
Fucking
road to
Jets. Of
Minnesota,
course we lose
and this
week
game
1 of the Jets.
May be the most fun game of the entire Bills drought. I know they've had some wins against the Patriots that were really fun, but in this game, Bledsoe goes for 463 yards, which is a Bills record.
Minnesota, right?
Threw for 3 touchdowns. Peerless Price has 2 touchdowns. Charlie Rogers returns a kickoff for a touchdown. Mike Hollis bangs in a 54-yarder off the crossbar. Dave, you were there in Minneapolis. And I won't get on you about the lost touchdown you missed in that one, or earlier in the Bills playoff drought, but just covering that game in Minneapolis, I can't imagine there must have been a game more fun.
It was absolutely off the charts. And the best thing about that was the tying field goal.
Hollis at the end of regulation.
I lost track of things. I thought it won the game. I started going on the field to get the celebration, and nobody's with me. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm like, wait a minute. One of the PR guys for the Bills had to pull me back on the sideline before I got ready.
One of the things, the reason Dave did that is one of the things we do is once the game's over, you want to get on the field to get the coaches'
reactions.
Yeah. So whether the game's 40-0 or 40-39, the moment that horn, moment it's all zeros, you're on the field. And well, you got to pay attention to the score.
We talked about
Gardner.
the score.
Yeah. I know. Larry Sanders. Sam Gash.
Peerless Price has a game-winning 48-yard touchdown in overtime in that one. And okay, the Bills are 1-1, but they are entertaining and exciting. And coming off a 3-3
Jay Reamersma right there.
That's all you can ask for, really. Yeah. And what was that like? At that point early in the season. I know it's only 2 games in, but just thinking like, okay, this team's going to score a lot of points and probably give up a lot of points too.
Well, you figure they're 1-1, but the way they lost the first one,
you're not going to do that again.
They shouldn't have lost that. Yeah. So you're in a good. You're really.
Yeah. People were 1.5. We were still Drew Bledsoe honeymoon 100%. DEFCON 5. The whole thing.
Week 3, they go on the road to Denver. Not nearly as fun at all.
I mean, look at the points, right? That they're putting up early on, right? 37-31, 45-39, 28-23, 33-27. I mean, this offense was putting up points, bro. Right? When you're watching this, like the Jets game should have never lost, right? Should have never lost that game. I mean, right there, you could be a 4-0 team right there if it wasn't for your shit ass defense. Right? I mean, look, like 28 points. I mean, it's still kind of a lot, but man, my God, man, 37 points allowing, 39 points allowing. Like, luckily, you got a win out of that. 27. Once again, in overtime, and look at that, 3 out of the 4 games, right, were overtime. Can you imagine that? 3 out of the first 4 games are overtime games. Like that's amazing. The 2014 could have done some damage if they could have snuck in the playoffs. That team was stacked and the defense was elite. And we're going to get to that 2004 very soon. In a couple of weeks, we'll be talking about that 2014. So, so I'm sure you'll be here to talk about that. But let's get through this.
Bledsoe sacked 4 times. He's had 11 sacks through 3 games of the season. Bills lose
Yikes.
that one. Week 2, they reached the 3-quarter pole at 2-2 with a win in overtime in that one. And then in week 5, they lose to the Oakland
Look at
Raiders
that.
to go on to the Super Bowl that year.
Look at
Oakland
that scoring, man.
And this is a theme of the Bills drought.
49 goddamn
Oakland
points.
Scores 21 straight points in that one as Oakland goes on to win 49-31. Then in week 6, the Bills win in Houston 31-24. And week 7, the Bills go on the road to Miami. Eric Moulds is a 70-yard touchdown. Ray Lucas picked off 4 times. And, we talk about bad quarterbacks. Ray Lucas has to be on that list of the worst quarterbacks that the Bills face during this era. Jay Fiedler is hurt, so that's why Lucas is in there. Week 8, Bills host the Detroit Lions. Joey Harrington makes an appearance. Really,
actually, I
Bills win
believe
that one. They go to 5-3.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right on that game, that Miami game. Ray Lucas was starting quarterback because Fiedler, who was terrible too, was rehabbing or was he coming off an injury, but he was still available to play. I believe it's the game. And Ray Lucas was terrible. And we were fucking hitting the shit out of Ray Lucas. I mean, dude, we were bringing it that game. Like fucking Ray Lucas was. I'm pretty sure it was the game. Ray Lucas was getting fucked up, and I think there was like one more hit he took, and it was a fumble, I believe. And man, he got fucking rocked. And they winded up putting Jay Fiedler in the game, and I think he wound up throwing like an interception later in the game. But man, dude, Ray Lucas was terrible. And Fiedler wasn't much better, by the way.
They've now won 3 straight games, and does this kind of, at this point now, we're halfway through the season, they're 5-3.
We're on our way.
Yeah, exactly. The 3-3 team is a blip.
Yep.
It's in the rearview mirror. I mean, at this point,
okay.
Happy, I guess.
So am I right on that one? Since you went to that game, I'm pretty sure I'm right on that one.
The bad record and the bad offensive line. Bledsoe's getting hit a lot.
It was more Bledsoe that people were happy about.
It wasn't.
Remember him for the Lions? Fuck, what's his name? From Oregon. Can't believe I'm going to forget his name.
Week 9, New England Patriots come to the Ralph. Thad.
Joey Harrington. That was Joey Harrington.
The first Brady Bledsoe game was going to be a big deal.
Brady Bledsoe.
So, John Kutchko, bless his heart again, had the idea to not only now media day, to back this up a little bit. Media day is Wednesday for most teams. It's the day where most media, hence the name, gather their material for stories for the rest of the week. Not all of it, but 80-90% of it, the chunk of it.
And the coaches talk.
Exactly. Yeah, everybody talks. So we went up to Buffalo every week, of the season. Well, John said, as big as this game is, let's go to New England too. So John sent Dave to Buffalo, and he sends me to Foxborough to cover Patriots media day. And at that point, this was still 2002. So Belichick was not the legendary monotone. I'm not going to say it was just another.
He still
coach.
has a Super Bowl ring as a head coach.
But even then, everybody thought the Rams were winning that game.
Yeah.
That Super Bowl with the tough bowl and the way that the Super Bowl went, and the Rams are heavily favored.
I thought the Rams were going to win too. I remember
that year the NFL had these cool ads where at the Super Bowl they said, "Here's what everybody was saying back in preseason." And one of the ones they did was some guy in a Chad Pennington Jets jersey, like talking with his friends, and he goes, "Tom Brady, not that good a quarterback." And at the time, in September of 2002, you could have believed it. And again, throughout that year, people, all right, the Patriots won the Super Bowl, but whatever, that's just 1 year. It wasn't what they are now. So we go to media day, and Belichick sends another coach. When they brought us into the locker room, Tom Brady didn't speak at the podium because he wanted to be one of the other guys, so he spoke in front of his locker. Well,
and that was something that was true for a long time.
A lot of guys do that. Yeah, and not just him.
Yeah.
So they bring us down a hallway, and it's Boston media getting ready for the game against Bledsoe. It was as big there as it was here. So there was 40, 50, 100 people. It was a large number.
I can believe
and
it.
we're all in a tunnel maybe 4 or 5 feet wide, 6 feet wide, something like that. There's enough that's like three wide. So when it's time to go in the locker room, when the period opens, it's like release the hounds. They open the door and everyone beeline to the Tom Brady locker. And I kind of expected this and didn't mind hustling. So I got up there and I was probably in row 2 of the group of media. So I'm still piled in, trying to get a camera here, a microphone there. And I had one of the better shots. There were 30 people behind me that were on stools, holding things in the air.
Boom mics.
Oh, yeah. And we want to hear. And Tom Brady,
says nothing.
Exactly. Didn't really have to be there, but you're supposed to be there. And one of my favorite moments working at News 8 was watching it back later when Dave does his report. And at the end of his report, he goes, "I'm Dave Yates in Orchard Park. From where we go to Thad Brown in Foxborough." And next shot is me at Gillette Stadium. It looks so cool. And then John ends the whole thing. So I say Thad Brown in Foxborough, and John comes back and he goes, on the air, he says, "If we had someone else, we would have sent them to Miami." And he goes, "I'm just kidding." Kind of. It was a fun week for us, and it was interesting to see that story from both sides.
And you also have a story, Thad, from the sideline of that game, from the Bills Patriots. Involving one of your favorites.
So there was a guy, you remember Ward, obviously, right?
Mm-hmm.
From WGRZ in Buffalo. He was one of the funniest men I've ever known. Just, great to hang out with. So we're standing on the sideline in Orchard Park pregame, Bills Patriots. And lo and behold, there's Jessica Alba on the sideline. Now, exactly. Now, in many NFL stadiums, it's not unusual to see celebrities on the sideline. I've seen John Bon Jovi at Jets games. Who was the Soprano star? I don't know.
James Gandolfini?
He was at Jets games all the time. I saw Lisa Leslie at a Dolphins game, not this past year, or no, a Rams game, just this past year. So, but Jessica Alba or anyone in Orchard Park was brand new. So we were both big fans. And Ward says to me, I wish I could go talk to her. I'm like, well, we probably could. He's like, no. So he goes to do something else. And I'm thinking, when am I ever going to get another chance? So I go up to
Shoot your shot, Thad.
Exactly. I go up to Jessica and I say, Jessica, my name is Thad. I'm a huge fan. And I have this idea. And I thought of it before I went up to talk to her. I said, would you mind? I'm going to have you hold the microphone. Would you mind saying that whenever I'm in Rochester, I always watch Thad Brown on News 8? Well, me being debonair and charming is all get out.
That's
she
funny,
giggles,
dude.
She's like, oh, yeah, absolutely. We'll hopefully we'll run that.
Yeah, we have it.
She goes, sure. So I hand her the microphone, camera on my shoulder, and she goes,
Hi, I'm Jessica Alba, and I always watch Thad Brown on News 8.
So I said, thank you very much.
That's fucking funny, dude.
Love you. She was on a show called Dark Angel. I told her I watched it. Complete lie. So I go back into the media room, and of course the coup de grace of this is showing Ward what I had gathered. And I go, Ward, come here. So I had all queued up in the camera, like, check this out. So he looks in, I hit play, and he sees, and he goes, dude, come on, that's not fair. And it's still, whenever someone new comes into the sports department, one of the first things is, I got to show you this.
A 15-year-old memory with an old love, Jessica Alba.
Even the wife appreciated that one. Yeah, I'll tell you what.
Well, of course, because it is Brady and Belichick against the Buffalo Bills. Didn't go well for the Buffalo Bills. Bledsoe sacked 4 times, picked off as well. Brady wins
38
his first game
7.
in Buffalo, or his second game
Got fucking
in Buffalo
walled
against the Bills, 38-7. The Bills are now 5-4. And after this game, Gregg Williams, his play calling is called out by Ralph Wilson, saying he's too conservative at this point. And you guys,
Ralph
this
getting mad.
Of just that Bledsoe was seemingly the guy that was carrying this team. Was he doing it in spite of Williams in the eyes of fans and the media at that time?
I think so. I think there was a lot of. It's like you've got the guy. Let him.
Fucking
let him
Gregg
go.
Williams.
Just
fucking
let him
hated him.
do what he's
I
supposed-
did
what he's here
not
to
like
do,
Gregg
basically.
Williams, guys.
And Gregg Williams didn't really
Terrible
have any friends
head
his first year
coach.
in 2001. He was
Defensive
not
coordinator, he
It's
was
not
all right
even
with
about
New
that,
Orleans,
though. It's
but
about the way he acted in front of a microphone, his attitude.
he was a dick.
The public persona of Gregg Williams was not warm and fuzzy, and that's just not his way.
Yeah,
and
we know that now. For
He had a bad coach. I don't even care if he was a dick. If he was a good, if he was a good head coach.
Drew Bledsoe, on the other hand, was the savior.
Yeah.
So for most of that season, whatever positive was Drew and whatever negative was, if I remember correctly, was Gregg for the most part.
So they come out of the bye
Gregg.
week in week 11. They
It's
go to
terrible
Kansas City.
defense
The Bills
here.
dropped that one late, lose 17-16. Week 12, the Bills go on the road to the Meadowlands to take on the Jets, James Gandolfini's favorite team. And before that game starts, Tom Donahoe and Ralph Wilson are
Dude,
walking
guys,
along
this
the
is
field
fucking
pregame.
great.
And some fans have some choice words for Mr. Donahoe and Mr. Wilson. First off, who shot that?
That was me. So Donahoe and Ralph Wilson walk onto the field at the tunnel.
Talking
Or
shit.
and
I love
Jets
it, dude.
fans act like any opposing fans would. New York fans a little more so than
the worst.
Kansas City. Yeah, I mean they have their moments, but it wasn't anything out of the ordinary.
Tough guy.
Tough guy.
Tough guy. You're a tough guy. You're a tough guy. You're a tough guy.
What was out of the ordinary is that Ralph Wilson was, going back and forth with him. 83-year-old. Now he wasn't too quick on the draw, but so fans are yelling at him. He walks out and kind of turns around and slowly shakes his finger.
Dude, fucking old ass Ralph Wilson. Fucking 83. John with fans. What's funny is like these fucking fans, these fucking New Jersey Jets fans, fucking talking shit to our 83-year-old owner. You fucking suck over there. Your team fucking blows. What? It's just so funny. Dude, like maybe when I was young, I guess, because those are younger fans. Maybe I would have done that. I don't know, but and then Donahoe over there sticking up for his owner, right? Yeah, tough guy, huh? Yeah, real tough guy. Like normally, they probably should have just kept walking because you're dealing with people that are probably drunk by then, right? But it's too damn funny, man. Too damn funny. And then of course Ralph Wilson's so old. Oh man.
Well, Donahoe was next to him, and you kind of got the feeling that Donahoe had to stand up for his boss.
Yeah.
So Donahoe was kind of yelling and doing finger wags, stuff like that, and nothing out of the ordinary. It would have made for a funny Twitter video now. And then I shot it, and it was all right. I mean, it was just unusual to see anyone having that kind of repartee with a fan, because if it's a football player, they're bigger and stronger, and the fan will be quiet. In this case, the owner and the GM were not that.
Right.
So they were going back and forth, fans letting them have it, and no one. It was kind of everybody enjoyed it, but no one was friends with the other side.
No.
You know, it was very adversarial.
Well, in that game, the play of the game that sticks out from watching it back, Eddie Robinson gets faked out of his shoes by Chad Pennington. You talk about football players being these
Pennington,
guys cut out of stone. No one is saying that about Chad Pennington. No offense, Chad. So to see him juke a player out, was that kind of the moment where you go, oh, that 5-3 start, that's in the rear view now, because the Bills go on to lose this game in the Meadowlands 31-13. They've now lost 3 straight and are now under 500 at 5.
That was the beginning and the end, I think, for the Gregg Williams idea of a defense, because Eddie Robinson was 32 going on 82, and probably no business playing D. And the way Chad Pennington undressed him was really pointing out the flaws in what the Bills had attempted to construct defensively. And that's why they brought in like 7 new linebackers the next year.
Yeah.
And the pressure is growing on Kevin Gilbride as well, as the Bills only scored 13 points. We've seen, through these last 2 seasons, shutouts, 3-point performances, 6 points, 13 in this one.
Yeah, which is unacceptable
Gilbride
when you have that kind of offense, by the way.
Was there any honeymoon period for him?
I wasn't a fan of him.
It seems like after the early start to that 2002 season, everything turned south in terms of the response to the Bills' offense.
There was a lot of head scratching because, Gilbride was no slouch when it came to his job, and you thought he was going to be able to do it, and he started out doing it well, and it's like, what happened?
He was like the last big name offensive coordinator they had. He was a good name, more notorious than anything else because of the Buddy Ryan fight. But you bring him in with Drew Bledsoe, it was supposed to work.
You remember that, guys? The fight he had on the side.
No-name guy. This was Kevin Gilbride. And with Drew Bledsoe, it was supposed to function.
I wasn't
the
so
following
on
week,
him.
the offense finds its life once again, this time at home against the Miami Dolphins. Drew Bledsoe throws for 306 yards, 3 touchdowns as well. Eric Moulds has this great one-handed catch going into the end zone. Ricky Williams said pregame he had never seen snow before. This was a cold, snowy day in Orchard Park. As the Bills
Ricky Williams
38-21.
absolutely destroyed us that game.
Brady Bledsoe once again, this time in Foxborough. Pats were up 20-0 at halftime. Is there anything memorable from that game as the Pats go on to blitz the Bills 27-17?
I think the biggest thing was we didn't cover anything like we covered the first game. Like there's no trips to
This
Foxborough.
defense was
like that
terrible.
had kind of gone out the window. And I think the fact they had lost 3 in a row, that was more the story about what's wrong with the Bills.
Right.
Remember, that was the one year that Brady played and the Patriots didn't dominate the division. They didn't even make the playoffs that year. So at early December, all 4 teams were still in it. And the Bills were the ones that
The
took a nosedive.
Jets, I believe, won the
Jets,
division
Dolphins, and
with
Patriots all went
9
down to the last
wins.
week of the season. So that was more
Which
the
is
talk than the whole Brady Bledsoe
unbelievable.
thing was done.
Right.
And at this point, the Bills' season is basically hanging by a thread. Their Week 15 game against San Diego is blacked out. When you think about all the talk about playing San Diego the year before, now they play San Diego and nobody even bothers to want to go to a game like this. But the Bills do go on to win 20-13. They're now back to 500 at 7-7. And at this point, they now need to win out and get help. So in Week 16, they go to Green Bay, and nothing went right.
No.
And that was your game.
That
right?
was my game. Yeah. It was awful. It was it was a bad game from my perspective. I think shooting wise, I think I had some good stuff, but I just remember it was cold.
Yeah.
It wasn't awful cold.
Lambeau in December.
Yeah. And if you go to Lambeau, you want to go in December.
Yeah, that's true.
You've got to be there for that. But I remember, I think if I'm not mistaken, their stadium was undergoing renovations as well, and the locker rooms weren't complete. So the visiting locker rooms were actually like trailers out in the parking lot. So
I did not know that.
If I'm not mistaken, that's where we did the post-game interview. That's like the one thing I remember from that. Yeah.
Well, the Bills lose 10-0.
Yeah.
Eliminated from postseason.
10-0. Couldn't put up a goddamn point.
The criticism of the offense was a major theme in the second half of the season. To put up a goose egg in the deciding game of the season. I mean, at this point, I know, we know obviously with hindsight that Gregg Williams gets another season, but at this point, are you thinking like, oh man, this?
Well, yeah. When your season's on the line, you can't score any points. It's like, what are we doing here, right?
again, we're not to the point where it's panic. It's
No.
there was improvement. 3-13 to 8-8. Okay, let's keep going in that
Yeah,
direction.
exactly.
We have our
We're
quarterback.
on the right path.
The quarterback, the head coach, who knows? But whatever. They improved 5 wins from the year before. They were in it until Christmas, basically.
Yeah.
So there wasn't any sort of this is not going to work. There was a feeling that there are things that need to be fixed, but the Bills were on the right path.
Week 17, the Bills host the Cincinnati Bengals, win that game. Afterward, Peerless Price says he would like to stay. He's due a big, hefty payday, as Peerless Price had a great season. 1,200 yards receiving, 94 catches, 9 touchdowns. His partner in crime, Eric Moulds, 100 receptions, 1,200 yards. The two of them combined have nearly 2,500 yards receiving. And just the thought of, the season ends 8-8. The reflections afterward, Bledsoe throws for 4,000 yards, but it's another season without the playoffs. Does that thought of, okay, this is an improvement off 3-13, did that supersede the fact that they fell off late in the year?
No, because again, we're not to that point where it's any big deal.
Yeah, it was there was hope.
Yeah,
which there wasn't after the end of the season before. You were just, what are we going to do now? Now we're in the middle of nowhere.
The Drew Bledsoe Honeymoon thing into the playoffs, but it got everybody feeling like this was going to work at some point.
Well, now we turn to 2003, and could that hope manifest itself into a playoff appearance? For that, we turn to the next episode of Down and Drought.
All right, so that is the end of that one of the 2003 episode. Let me see here. Here we go. So, guys, man, what a wild year, 2002. I honestly, when you look back at that team, and I'll go through the stats right now for you guys. Finish 8-8. The division winner was the Jets, I believe. They had 9 wins. So it was a season where we could have made the playoffs at probably 9 wins, right? But if you look at the stats, unbelievable stats, right? Travis Henry, 1,438 rushing yards, 13 touchdowns. He also had 309 receiving yards with the touchdown. Eric Moulds, 1,292, 10 touchdowns. Peerless Price, 1,252, 9 touchdowns. Josh Reed, 509, 2 touchdowns. Larry Centers, our fullback, 388. Jay Remersma, 350. I mean, guys, like that offense was unreal. And then obviously Drew Bledsoe, 4,359 yards, 24 touchdowns, 15 interceptions. You want the interceptions to go down a little bit there, but still a very good offense there by the Buffalo Bills. And yet the defense was terrible. Defensively, let's see here. Defensively, that team, where they were ranked, let's see here. Pretty sure last. So offensively, they were in the top 10, 11th in scoring, total yards 11th, 3rd in offense and passing. Their defense, 27th points allowed. Run defense was 30th in the league. Terrible. They're terrible. Obviously finished 8-8, but if the defense was just a tad better, guys, just a tad, that team was a playoff team, 1,000%. But yeah, man, it was highly disappointing as a Bills fan that year. But of course, like they said, you're thinking, okay, 3-13 the year before, 8-8. The next year, we still got Drew Bledsoe. Could 2003 be better? And no, it wasn't. Which we'll get into next week when that time comes. So, but yeah, guys, it was bad. It was a bad season with a bad head coach, and it kind of tells you everything you need to know about coaching and scheme and the players that fit in the scheme. And this is what you're going to get, right? This is exactly what you're going to get. So Let's see here. And I was hype. We had got spikes. Yeah, a lot of folks told you that offense was unreal. Yeah, it was crazy. We had a shootout with the Super Bowl team of that year, the Raiders, with Tim Brown and Jerry Rice. Yeah, I mean, like I said, we're going to get into all that next week. We'll get into the 2003 Down and Drought. But guys, we got a while to go, and a lot more quarterbacks to go through the series and head coaches. Like somebody mentioned earlier, Dick Duran, right, is coming to town shortly. And many other coaches are coming to town on this Down and Drought series. So, and quarterbacks and running backs. So prepare yourself for this series because it's going to get even better as it goes on. So I appreciate you guys rocking with me during this series. And I hope you guys continue to do that. Tomorrow, I'll be live Monday night uncensored. Mikey will be joining me at 10 p.m. So it's a late night show. It always is on Monday night. So I hope you guys join me. And until then, Bills Mafia, I love you. And as always, go Bills. Peace.
Don't forget, when you're NWO for life. Too sweet.